Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today you're going to be seeing double, maybe triple, maybe quadruple. Today I am sharing the books that I have multiple copies of. I actually got this video idea from my friend Lena at Lena's Bookshelf. I will have her channel linked down in the description, but she knows I like to collect special editions of books, or I have multiple editions of books, and she just thought I should share them with you. So that's what I'm here to do today. I have been on BookTube for 11 years now, and at the beginning when I had hardly a book collection at all, because I would read a book and then go to the store, buy another book to read, I didn't really have like a TBR or even a collection of the books that I have read and loved. I was just kind of like a one in, one out type person, so I never had multiple copies. And then once I started collecting books and saving books and building a little library, I didn't have room to have multiple copies of books. So if I got a second copy of a book in, I had to decide, do I want to keep this copy or do I want to keep this copy? But fast forward to the present, and there are quite a few books that I have multiple copies of, and there's a variety of reasons. So we're going to go over those today. So I started by collecting copies of The Giver, which at the time was my favorite book of all time, and it still is an all-time favorite book. But I actually found this copy at the Book Thing in Baltimore, Maryland. It's a free resource for books, a free bookstore. So when I read this book and absolutely loved it, people heard it was my favorite book of all time, and they started sending me copies. But also I started picking up myself some copies. So the first book that I ever decided it's okay to have multiple copies of the same book was The Giver by Lois Lowry. And here's my collection. So this is the mass market paperback. This is the one that I initially read. I also found this one at a thrift store. It is the movie tie-in edition hardcover. It was a really cheap price. There's really nothing special about it, except for it's the movie tie-in edition. And I got this copy, which is the one you most likely see in paperback, but this is the hardcover, and it has the John Newbery medal here on the front. It's the 25th anniversary edition, and this one was so kindly sent to me by Yvette, and she actually went to a signing and got this personalized for me because she knew it was my favorite book of all time. She also gave me this really pretty card that I like to keep in here. So that's a super special edition on my shelf. I also got the boxed set of these library bind-ups. It has like the fake, you know, metal on it. These are the covers. They're not like a dust jacket. They're like the library binding of the books, but it came in a boxed set from my dad, and I have actually read this edition as well. And then I think I got this at the thrift store or online or something. This is the gift edition, and it also has the Newbery medal on it. I think this one has some illustrations in it. Yes. It has some of these illustrations inside, so that made it super cool. I also got the Giver graphic novel as a gift, and I haven't read the graphic novel, but I have flipped through it. This one came from Maggie. I still have her note in here. She gave it to me for Christmas, so that was really nice. And then Keisha sent me this one, and obviously it has a very cool cover and then very cool end papers. And then it also is signed. So that means I have 2 signed copies of The Giver. And then it also has beautiful sprayed end papers, and then it has a ribbon bookmark. And yeah, those are my copies of The Giver, and I love all of them so much. And then along those same lines, after I read The Giver, I wanted to move on into the quartet, so I bought myself this copy of Gathering Blue. But then, like I said, my dad bought me that boxed set, so it came with this library bind-up edition. So I have 2 copies of this, and I figured I have all those editions of The Giver, why not have 2 of these? Because I like this cover better, but I don't want to break up the boxed set, so I'm just going to keep both. And then moving on to when I found Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by gsbshortcake, which is a new all-time favorite book. Everybody knows this. This is the Book of the Month, Book of the Year edition. Hardcover, just regular, you know, thing, but then people started hearing that it was my favorite book of all time, and I started accumulating multiple copies, and this collection is really, really special to me as well. So again, this is the first edition. I also have just the regular hardcover edition, which I have annotated because I reread it earlier this year and it was just so nice. So I actually read this copy twice, back to back, and then this was the 3rd time that I read it. I actually got this one. So this is what this naked hardcover looks like. It's like a white and blue Book of the Month edition. And then this one is just a solid kind of blue color. And then I also have this beautiful foiled edition with these gorgeous end papers, which Keisha sent to me. It came from Fairy Loot, and it has special end papers, and it has a very cool metallic cover. That's what the spine looks like. So this is a really special edition, and typically when I display it on my shelf, I display it with the edges showing, just because it's iconic. Like, you definitely know which book this is when you're looking at my shelf. She also ordered this one on like special order on Etsy, because it was, you know, created by an artist to do special sprayed edges. And yeah, they just did it on like the normal hardcover, but again, those special edges are everything. And then I have a few paperback copies. I just have the normal paperback copy, just normal paperback, but I like having the paperback copies of the book because they're, you know, a little bit different. And then I also have the Blued Sprayed Edges paperback copy, and this one is different because in the back she has some concept notes, and it was fun reading through those. And then there's a reading group guide in the back, and that's what the inside flap looks like. So that's pretty cool. This one is just got the same thing, but nothing in the back, just notes and acknowledgements. So I wanted both of those. And then when Jordan went overseas for work, she got me this copy from Berlin, but I think this is like the UK version of the book, so it is totally different. You know, it's got the font up here in color, but then it's focusing on the wave. This is what the spine looks like, and I'm really happy to have this one. I did leave the sticker on the back because I just want to remember where it's from and stuff. But yeah, I absolutely love that edition. And then for Valentine's Day, Melissa got me one of these like mini books, of 𝒬𝒏𝒏𝒅. And is it the real book? No. It says roses are red and love you will fall with this teeny tiny book. I've sent it so small. So I just thought that was so cute, and I do consider it part of my collection. So those are my copies of 𝒬𝒏𝒏𝒅. Another subcategory of books that I have multiple copies of are classics. Classics obviously have been around for a very long time, so many beautiful editions of classics are a thing. So I do have 3 copies of Anne of Green Gables, 2 books, and 1 graphic novel, and I have read these multiple times. So this is the Tundra from Penguin Random House in Canada. This is the Tundra edition. I got the boxed set of these, so I have all 8 books in this edition, but this is obviously the first one. And as you can see, it's annotated because I did read this in January, and I did a whole breakdown of my thoughts and my feelings and stuff like that. So that was really nice to experience. I also have the beautiful Puffin and Bloom edition on my shelf, and then I also have the graphic novel, which I have read and I really enjoyed. Let's see, I'm trying to find, okay, here's what some of the artwork looks like. Yes, so I really like that. So I have 3 copies of Anne. I have 2 copies of The Jungle Book. I have this one that I actually got from my neighbor when he was moving and going through his books. He was moving back to Japan, so I picked up this beautiful illustrated edition of The Jungle Book. And this is a story I have not read, but I do hope to one day because I'd love to read through the special edition, illustrated edition. I also have the Wordsworth edition of The Jungle Book. It's kind of hard to see, but this is like much smaller, and it's just very cute. It does have some black and white illustrations inside. Here we go. But I just think these are so cute and dainty, and I love it. I have 2 copies of Black Beauty. This is the Penguin Threads edition, and this is actually my 2nd copy of the Penguin Threads edition. I loaned it out to my friend, and she ended up moving away with my copy of Black Beauty. So luckily I found this copy in the book exchange. But if you look on the inside, it looks like, you know, needlework and stuff like that on the inside. I love the tail and the horse, and then on the back it's also kind of stitched, and it has the French flaps and stuff. But yeah, I really like this edition. Deckled edges, paperback, pretty floppy, easy to read. Love this one. And then I also have the Wordsworth edition of Black Beauty as well. Again, because I just kind of feel like it goes so well, you know, like having the collection together like this, like the colors are so beautiful. So yeah, I wanted to get this one as well, and it's one of my favorite classics. So I like that. Let's see if this one has any pictures. I do not think it does. No illustrations. Yeah, it's just straight up text, but beautiful cover. Then I have 3 copies of Peter Pan. I have this Penguin Classics. I know there's a name for this. Is it like the Black Book, or I forget what it's called. Does it say? Probably not. You can tell me down in the comment section what collection or what, you know, edition this is. But yes, I have this one, and this is what made me want to read Peter Pan. I picked this up at the book exchange, and I did read this one in January with my patrons. So this one is annotated, very different than I imagined it to be. Mina Lima illustrated interactive edition, hardcover. It's like a thicker book. It has like interactive elements in it, like here's Peter's shadow, and they just have different things They have like maps, little turny wheels, things like that. It's kind of hard to show off this edition because I don't want to spoil anything in it, obviously. And there's all these little like inserts to protect the book, but the end papers are really pretty. There's illustrations throughout that are really pretty. They have like the chapter breakdown with little illustrations. Yeah, so that's a really pretty edition. And then I also have the Wordsworth edition of Peter Pan, and they come with little quotes on the back, which I think are nice. This one says, "Just always be waiting for me," and it has like the ship and stuff like that. And the titles are usually foiled, and the quote is usually foiled. I just think they're really cute additions. And then finally, in the classics category, I have 2 copies of The Secret Garden. This is a book I can see myself getting more copies of because I just think there's so many beautiful ones out there. I did reread this one, and it wasn't a favorite like I remember. Like, I think it's more of like a 4-star read rather than a 5-star read, but the book is just gorgeous. So again, I have the Penguin Threads edition of this one. This is what the front cover looks like. This is what the inside looks like. Same with the back cover. French flaps, paperback, easy to read. And then I also have that Mina Lima interactive edition as well. It has beautiful end papers, the interactive elements. Yeah, this one has a whole map that you can fold out and stuff like that. But like I said, it has these inserts to kind of protect your book and stuff. But it does have illustrations. Let's see. Here's one. So yeah, this one again, really, really pretty. So those are my classics that I have multiple copies of. I also have a couple of books that were initially indie published, and then they got like traditionally published. So they got picked up, they got new covers, similar covers, but different. The text is different also, but I'm talking about Sarah Adams. So originally I had her indie published copies of The Match and The Enemy, and then of course they got traditionally published. And here's a copy of The Match, here's the indie, here's the traditional. So it's like a pastel, and this is like a more vibrant cover. Let me know which one you like more. They're very, very similar. The backs look like this, so a little bit different as well. I don't know if you can see the little city down there, but so those and then of course The Enemy, here is the indie published, and here is the traditional published. So yeah, so those are ones that I got indie published to traditional published. And then last but not least are just books that somehow, some way I got multiple copies of. Either I was sent, I liked multiple copies, one came with exclusive things, it's an anniversary edition or something like that. So we have The Ferryman by Justin Cronin, which I read for the Night Owl Book Club, and I really did love this cover, but I actually really enjoyed the book as well. So Jordan also picked me up this copy when she was in Berlin, and I also think this one is stunning. You'll have to let me know which cover you like the best. This one is like a chunky paperback, and this one is a hardcover, of course. So I have those. I also have 2 copies of Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is the hardcover Book of the Month edition that came out in June of 2020. Nothing too special about this, just the Book of the Month edition. I obviously picked it up with my subscription, so this is the copy that I read. But then they had a special edition that had glow-in-the-dark features on it, including the spine and I think the text and the these little lights up here and maybe the name, but it's like a glow in the dark effect. I don't know if you'll be able to, you can kind of see that it has like a design, whereas like this one does not. Like there's nothing. They look very similar, but like this one actually glows in the dark, and I just think that's really, really cool. So I wanted to have that special feature, and obviously I didn't want to get rid of my book of the month edition because that's the copy that I read, and I have a large book of the month collection, so like why wouldn't I keep that one, you know? All right, next up is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. So this was the original hardcover release. They have redone the covers, so it's hard to get this copy anymore, but this is the one that I read and loved. And then this is the 10th anniversary special edition of the book, which, I mean, I kind of like the original, but then they changed design. So I have like the first 4 books in this design, but they're very hard to come by. But yeah, so that's what those look like. And this is a series that's still being written, so who knows what the ultimate collection will look like on my shelf one day. All right, I also have 2 copies of Beach Read. So I have the book of the month copy that I picked up. This was my first Emily Henry book, so I've been getting hers from book of the month as they've been available. But yeah, I read this and really enjoyed it. And then they came out with a special edition. I actually picked up my copy at Target. So the cover and the spine and the back, and then the end papers look like this, and it does have this little quote on the front. Yeah, and then it has sprayed edges to match like the inside of the book. So I think that's really cool, and I'm assuming they're going to do all of these because by the time this video is out, I will have 2 copies of People We Meet on Vacation, because this kind of special edition is coming out for People We Meet on Vacation, and I do have a copy of that book already on my shelves. So it would look very much like this, but just imagine me having the special edition copy of People We Meet on Vacation and the book of the month edition of the People We Meet on Vacation. I have 2 copies of The Grandest Games. This is one where this is the one that I bought off of Amazon, I believe. And this is the one that I read and I annotated. And then they had an exclusive Barnes & Noble edition with the white cover. And this one also has bonus content in it in the back specifically. So since I am such a fan of Jennifer Lynn Barnes and I love both of these covers and couldn't choose, I was like, why choose? And they're going to be doing the same thing with Glorious Rivals, which I don't have a copy of yet. I'm actually waiting, but I want to get both editions as well. So one will be a black and purple and the other one is like white and purple, I think. But yeah, so I have read these and I'm happy to have them both on my shelves. And the last Seeing Double book that I want to show you is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, which I have not read yet. But when I initially saw this book, I thought it was like more hot pink than it actually is, but when you hold it up to the aardvark edition of the purple, it doesn't look that different, honestly. I mean, yes, they're different shades clearly, but it looks almost like more purple than pink. But anyway, yeah, that's how I obtained multiple copies of this. I kind of forgot that I got this hardcover edition from Aardvark, but I did, and it's signed, so I want to keep it. And then because I've read all of her books so far. Oh, it's just signed right here in the cover. I kind of wish that it would have been signed like on this page, but it's fine. It's signed here and I'll accept that. So yeah, got that from Aardvark. Let's look at the naked hardcover. Beautiful purple, love. And then I have the regular copy that you can buy in bookstores. So those are all of the books that I have multiple copies of at this moment. Like I said, by the time you're watching this video, I should have 2 copies of People We Meet on Vacation and Glorious Rivals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. But let me know, do you collect multiple copies of books? And if so, which ones? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you to Lena for this video idea. If you have a video idea that you'd like me to do, leave that in the comment section. And then other than that, leave some type of like twin emoji down in the comments to let me know you made it this far in the video. That's all for this video. I hope everybody is having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.